Hi friends, it's Diana here today, and today we're going to be sewing up this cute hoodie. This is the Sala hoodie by Styla. This is a free pattern. I love how it looks. It's got this cute color blocking detail. It's got pockets. It's got a hood with a working drawstring. It's got thumb hole cuffs, which are super cute. I love it. Let me show you this hood. See, it works. Just my mic is in the way and it's probably making a lot of noises because I'm moving it around. Anyway, go grab this pattern. The link is below. Come back and sew it up with me. Let's get started. All right, before we get started, I wanted to show you what I like to do when I am cutting out my pattern. I use a projector file, and I always make sure that I mark all my pieces, even if I'm cutting them with, even if I don't use a projector file, regular cutting, because some of them can be similar, and marking your pieces is going to help you be able to put everything together seamlessly. I also mark my notches, like here's where my grommet's supposed to be, and this is my pocket. This is my pocket here, and see, look, my notches are marked there and there. So all that stuff is marked so that it's easier to put it together. All right, so we're gonna start with our pocket first. And this is my front outer, my front liner, and my pocket lining. So we're gonna grab our pocket lining, we're gonna turn it wrong side up, and we're gonna grab some interfacing, an inch wide interfacing, and add it here to the edge of the pocket to help stabilize it. And I'm just gonna use my iron and steam that interfacing on real quick. Now I'm going to grab my main bodice, front bodice, and I'm gonna place, stay there. I'm gonna place my pocket lining right on top of it, right sides together. And you can see my marks here, my notches should match up. Obviously the notch is not matching up because I did not put a notch on this one, but they should be matching up. And so we're going to be sewing with a stretch stitch from the notch down to the other notch. So we're gonna go up and out on both sides, up and out. This one needs to be a little bit higher. And then make sure that you keep your 3/8 seam allowance on this, so that way it functions correctly. All right, once that's done, we're gonna go in and cut a little slit 3/8 of an inch, so not any bigger, just the seam allowance here at all the pocket markings. Then we're going to turn it right side out. Take my label off and steam these pocket openings. All right, once it's turned and steamed, you can go ahead and top stitch those pocket openings, but make sure you don't do it with a tight stitch. It's gonna stretch them out. I am not going to top stitch. I'm just going to move on to the next spot, and we're gonna grab our lining of our bodice, and we're gonna place it right on top, matching up the pocket to the lining. And we're going to pin that pocket to that lining. Actually, we'll turn it. Here's our main on this side of the main. Pull this main down, and here's the pocket, and I'm going to pin that pocket to my lining, main bodice lining here, because I'm going to attach that to create that pocket. You attach it by top stitching it. I'm going to top stitch it on my cover stitch because that way it'll be a stretch stitch here on my pocket, and that will create the pocket when it'll be closed off at the top, and then when we sew the band and the sides, then it will close it off, and that will create that front pocket without having a seam on your front here. So let's go stitch that on. So now that that's sewn here, from the front, you should not be able to see it, but it is attached now. This pocket is attached. So now what we're going to do is we're going to match up the lining and the outer of the front bodice, because we're going to treat this as one piece. So we want to baste them together. So So we're just gonna match up those edges. Obviously here you'll have a little bit of a lip here because you'll be able to see that because of the pocket. But they should match up, and then we're gonna go over to our sewing machine and just baste them together. Baste the lining and the outer of the front bodice together so that we can, when we start sewing, we can treat it as one. The only place you're not gonna baste is here because this is the pocket opening. You don't want that basted. So we're gonna go down, up, over, stop here, start back up, over, down on my sewing machine with a long straight stitch. Here at the bottom, I am matching up the lining, the pocket, and the front. So you should have all three of them matched up here. All right, let's go baste those. I am using a long straight stitch. I do have a different color thread here, so it'll be easy to know what I have to remove. And we're gonna start, let's go from this side so I can see where it starts. Right here, my pocket. I will be removing this basting stitch after I sew everything together, so, you know, it doesn't matter that it's a different color. All right, here we have our front panel all together. Now we're gonna grab one of our side panels, and what we wanna do, let's see, this is front, this is sleeve. See, it's a good thing I marked these because they're very similar. Here's the front panel. So obviously, this one's gonna go on this side, and this one's gonna go on this side, and we're gonna do the same for both. So I'm gonna show you on this side. We're gonna grab it and we're gonna place it right on top. We're gonna place here at the top first, and then at the bottom, because we're going to kind of stretch this to fit lightly. So it's not a whole lot of stretching, it's just lightly stretching. But before we go ahead and sew it, we gotta do something first here to this pocket so we don't end up sewing this pocket to this. So here where it's just the pocket and the pocket and the side panel, you don't want to sew up you don't want to sew up the opening of the pocket. So what we want to do is we're going to go over to our sewing machine and baste these two together, making sure that our pocket is not caught in there. So let me show you on the other side. So we're gonna baste that together first and then come back and open it and make sure that this is not caught in there. You see how that's gotta have to be free, because then we'll move it out of the way and sew it, but you can move it out of the way now if you want to. So I'm gonna fold it out of the way, okay? And go ahead and baste that on first, make sure it looks good and neat, and then we'll go back and sew it with a stretch stitch. So open it up, make sure you didn't catch it, because you want to catch these sides here, right? But you don't want to catch this pocket. And we're going to do the same on the other side. All right, let's go sew that up. All right, we're going to open this up and check and make sure that that didn't get caught, the pocket didn't get caught, which it didn't. So that will give me a guide of me coming back over and sewing, making sure I stayed at that line and I don't catch my pocket when I'm sewing it on my serger. Remember, here you're catching your pocket lining, you're catching your two pieces over here. All right, then we can go ahead and remove all these stickers. I don't want to melt them onto my fabric. And remove these pins and make sure that you caught all those corners in there and you didn't catch the pocket, and it is functional. It's a functional pocket now. And then now we're going to steam. Well, you can go ahead and remove those basting stitches. You can do it now, you can do it later. You can see my basting stitches a little bit here. And then we're going to, if you want to do a decorative stitch on the side, you can move that seam allowance towards the side and you can put in a decorative stitch. Now you can see here that I have a little bit of fabric, another thread of serger here. And the reason why is because when I turned it around, I hadn't caught enough of the pocket here and it was kind of poking out. So I wanted to go ahead and I went ahead and sewed it in a little bit more just to make sure that it was nice and flushed. So that's why I have a little bit of extra serger tail there. Now, what you want to do at the pocket top here and the pocket bottom here is to put a bar tack stitch, which is just like a zigzag stitch here and zigzag stitch here, like a tight zigzag stitch, which is going to help that opening stay still. And then I'm going to go over to my cover stitch and I'm going to do a cover stitch top stitching here along the two edges, outer edges, to give it a little bit of extra cuteness. All right, now that those sides are done and top stitched and looking good, we're gonna grab our top piece, find it. Okay, here's our top, and we're gonna match it up, right sides together here at the top, and sew it on with a stretch stitch. I'm gonna use my serger. It's gonna be so cute. We're gonna go ahead and prep our back panel as well. So here's my back panel, and I'm gonna grab my back panel sides. Yeah, these are my sides. And we're gonna match them up right sides together. Shoop. And you're like, couldn't you have done that at the same time that you did the other side panels? Yeah, I could have. And I would have. I don't know why I didn't. But if I was you, I probably would at the same time. And then now they would both be done and we'd be working on our back yoke on this one as well. But that's fine. You can take it one step at a time. It's not gonna kill us, but you all know I like to try to do as much as possible in the same step. All right, so we're gonna sew those together. We're gonna sew that top together. Then we'll flip it open and top stitch at the top and then at the sides, just to give it like a little bit of cuteness. You don't have to top stitch. You can if you want. All right, we're doing that bar tack stitch. So I'm setting a zigzag stitch here. And we're just gonna go back and forth here at the top of the pocket and then again at the bottom of the pocket. See, it's just a little tack right there. So on this side is just, you see it that way, and on this side you just see it like back and forth right there. And if you do it with a color that matches your fabric, you won't even be able to see it at all. I just did it with white. All right, we can go ahead and top stitch that top and do the same on the sides of the back bodice. All right, now we're gonna work on our back bodice top. We're gonna grab these two top pieces and you'll see that they should form a neck area. See how that would be the neck area there? If you're piecing them like this, it'd just be like see, I'll show you, like wide open. So that will not work. That's not a neck area. So you want it to make like, when you piece it together, is gonna create that neck area there. So now we're gonna flip it over and sew those together, right sides together. Okay, and then when you open it, here it is, that neck area there. Then we'll steam it open and top stitch, just like we did on the sides. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and also prep my sleeve right now at the same time, because that way it's ready to go when I put the bodices together. You all know I like to do a bunch of things at the same time if I can. I got my sleeve here and I marked the back of the sleeve and the front. The reason why I did that is because we've got, this is the front of the sleeve, so it's gonna go on this side. We're gonna grab one of the fronts, make sure that it's the right front. It's got to continue that arm side shape. Okay, let's see, let's try this one. See that? It goes down. This one doesn't even match the length because this is the wrong side. So that's for the other sleeve. So this one matches here at the top and it matches the length. Matches the length. So we know that this is the one side. And then here's the back piece. And it matches the length here. So we know that this is the other side. Let me try this one. See how it's not, it doesn't match. All right, so then once we've got them settled in, we're gonna flip it right over, right sides together, and sew. And we're gonna do that for both sleeves. Once we sew them together, then we can flip them out, steam them, and top stitch those seams as well. You don't have to top stitch any of these seams. If you don't like to top stitch and you don't want to, you don't have to, but you can to give it an extra like cutesy look. And you can do it with your cover stitch. And if you don't have a cover stitch, you can do it with your sewing machine, with a zigzag stitch, with a double needle, with a lightning bolt stitch, triple stitch, however you want to do it. Just want to use a stretch stitch so that your hoodie will end up being stretchy at the end. We're going to do the same for the other sleeve. Now I've got my sleeves, I've got my back finished, and my front finished. So now we're going to attach the front to the back. We're going to place them right sides together, front and back, and sew up the shoulders and sew up the sides. Then for the sleeve, we're going to match the sleeves right sides together at the center seam to create the sleeve here. All right, let's sew that up. All right, now we have our bodice front and back together, and we've got our sleeves. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn our sleeves right side out because we're going to attach our sleeve to our bodice. Now remember, I had marked my sleeve front and back, so I want to find that again. This is my back because when I go in to put my sleeve in, we want to match the back to the back of the bodice. So we're going to fit that sleeve in and right sides together, match that bottom armpit seam area here. And then we want to match the top notch with the shoulder seam here. Remember, the back markings are going to match the back. The front is going to mark the front, and we're going to match up those seams here and fit it evenly. Right sides together. We're going to do that for both sleeves, and then we're going to go ahead and sew that on. Then we're going to move on to doing our cuffs. All right, I'm doing this. All right, so now we can turn this around and our bodice is completed. And you can pull all these basting stitches off that you have and whatnot, but I'm super excited. There's my pocket. Woo, this is gonna be so cute. Now we just gotta do the sleeve cuffs, the hood, and the waistband. So I'm gonna put this little thing aside, and we're gonna grab all our pieces for our cuffs. All right, I'm gonna work on one at a time. We're gonna work on one, but it's gonna be, you're gonna do the same for both of them. All right, so we're gonna grab this curved piece here, and we're gonna match it right sides together here at the rounded edge. And then we're gonna go to our sewing machine and sew it with a stretch stitch right here along this edge. Now, we're not going to sew with a serger. We're going to do it with just your sewing machine and a stretch stitch. I'm going to do a zigzag stitch. You can do any kind of stretch stitch that you like. You want this to be comfortable, so you want to use something that gives you a good stretch. All right, now we're going to go ahead and trim that seam allowance on the cuff. And then we're going to go ahead and turn it right side out. We're going to grab our ironing board and go ahead and steam that. And then we're going to grab our bottom piece of our cuff and fold it wrong sides together in half. Create a crease here. Then we're going to grab our cuff and we're going to fold it right sides together and create a memory crease here as well. And then what we're going to do is we're going to place this bottom piece and this front piece. This is the raw edge. The raw edge is going to go towards the bottom, and the hemmed edge is going to overlap here to create the same length as the cuff. So this is going to overlap here and here on each side, and it's going to end up just as tall. Okay, so overlap it just enough so that it's the same length, and then we're going to go ahead and baste these together here on each side. All right, now we're going to open up this cuff front, and we're going to place this cuff back right on top of it, matching those raw edges here. Okay, and then we're going to fold it right on top so they're all right sides together, and we're going to sew those edges. I'm going to sew those edges with that stretch stitch. I'm going to use my serger. Make sure they're nice and even and not like crumple down or anything like that. Let's go sew, and our thumb hole will be done. All right, that's done. Now we just are going to grab one of the layers and turn it right side out all the way. And here is our cuff with our thumb hole. So cool. Now we just have to attach it to our hoodie. Oh my gosh, that is so cool. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and do the same for the other one, and then we'll come back and attach this and work on our hood and our waistband, and we'll be done. All right, now that my cuffs are prepped, we can do a few things at a time. Actually, let's leave that for the end, because attaching them to the end, I'm gonna remove that basting stitch, attach them, because when I attach the band and the hood at the same time, I'll go ahead and attach that. So we're gonna grab our band. Well, you can do the hood first or the band first. It really does not matter. Here's our band pieces, and here's our side pieces, and we're just going to attach them to make a one continuous loop. So we're attaching one of these side pieces to each side, right sides together. Make sure the stretch is going the correct way. You want it to stretch this way. And then you can open it up and attach them to the other one, to the back piece. And this is how you create your band, which we'll attach later. All right, so we'll sew that up. But at the same time, I'm going to prep my hood. Here's my hood front here. So where it starts at the front, we're going to start at the front of the crown, and we're going to match that up right sides together around the whole crown of the hood. This little spot here should match the little markings together. This is the top of the crown, the back of this back piece, and then we turn and keep going. All right, so we're going to sew that up, but I like to do two things at once, so I'm going to go ahead and do the other side as well at the same time. But you can do one at a time if you want to, but you all know. You all know me. So this is the front. So start at the front and go all the way down. All right, let's go sew those up. So I just realized that my audio did not record on that. So what I did is I steamed the seams towards the center, and now I'm going to top stitch. And that tool I was using to steam is called a ham, and it is so helpful when you're trying to steam curved edges. I love it. Another thing I did was add the interfacing to the areas where my grommets are going to go that I had marked earlier. Then we're going to go and apply our grommets. So I marked my grommet area here. So I create a little gap. I rather it be smaller than my grommet than too big, and then my grommet just doesn't fit in there or it's too loose. And we're going to attach our grommet according to your manufacturer instructions. Mine, I'm just fitting it through. I don't have a grommet gun or anything like that. I just put them through, and I have this little tool where I just place my grommet in there, Place the little thing right on top, and then I just smash it with a hammer. Not gonna do it at this table though, because this is not a super sturdy table. So I'm gonna go do it over there, come back and show you the next step. All right, now that grommets are attached, we're going to fold this hem over to cover those grommets, because that will create a casing here where the drawstring is gonna go through. So we're gonna top stitch this section down all the way around the hood. Be careful when you go to top stitch this area here that you don't break your needle. I did that last time I did grommets. So you want to make sure that you're like at the edge, so you're not gonna like break a needle here as you're doing this. Once I'm done top stitching, I'm gonna go to my sewing machine and overlap this right here an inch. So measure an inch here, overlap, and we're going to baste it together, because then we're gonna attach this hood to our neck area, our hoodie. So then we'll just have to attach the hood, attach the cuffs, attach the band, and we'll be done. Almost there. Okay, 1 inch overlap here. I'm gonna redo that because I did not like how it got folded down. I'm gonna overlap it this way. Make sure it's 1 inch. All right, now we finally get to piece everything together. So we're gonna grab our sleeve. Let's start with our cuffs. We're going to match our cuffs. So here's my two sides, here's my center. So we're gonna just kind of mark the center, and I'm gonna fit my cuff. I'm gonna turn it, well, both ways are right sides. So I'm gonna fit my cuff into my sleeve and match up those seams, and then stretch lightly as we sew. If your fabric doesn't have a ton of stretch, then I would suggest, so the cuff doesn't stretch enough, I would suggest gathering your cuff a little bit to attach. I mean, not your cuff, your sleeve. Gathering your sleeve a little bit to attach the cuff. All right, so those will get sewn on. Now the bottom of the bodice, we're gonna match up those two sides and mark our front and our back. And then we're gonna grab our waistband and we're gonna fold it wrong sides together. And here on the side, you've got, well, you're gonna have all these seams that you can match up. Here's the notch to match up the front. So we're gonna place that notch here to the front. Then this side seams, we're gonna match up the seams here. Then the other seam, then the bottom notch, then the other side seams. Remember, you're attaching right sides together. And then the last side seam. This is the fun part here, putting it all. That's why I like to leave like all the piecing together until the last, because it just all is like comes together here at the last minute. Now I'm gonna turn this inside out. You can just turn the head inside out. Now if you're doing one at a time, then obviously it doesn't matter. But I'm gonna mark my shoulders to the front, shoulders to the back, and mark that. But honestly, this also has, well, no, yeah, this seam right here should match here. So if we match up, well, let's just find the shoulders anyway, which means you touch down here in the back and you go to the sides. Oh yeah, those are my shoulders. Okay. Okay. So I'm gonna grab this and I'm gonna match up the front and back and match up the sides, and those will be my side seams. I said shoulders, but it's not really shoulders, it's just the sides. Okay, so then I'm gonna fit my hood inside there. This center point of the hood here goes right here in the front. And then those marks go right here on the sides where I marked the shoulder area. Because of it being a crew neck, it's pretty even. And then the two seams here in the back. Then we got to stretch lightly to fit that hood on, sew it on. While we're doing that, we're also going to go ahead and finish sew our strap. What is this called? Why do I always forget the name of the little strappies that come down? Whatever these are called. Fold them right sides together and sew them here at the raw edge all the way down. I probably will not clip all of it down. I'm gonna fold it together as I'm sewing it. The drawstring together. And then we'll put it together, we'll be done. As I'm working on drawstrings, somebody gave me a tip on how to do easy drawstrings to be able to turn them around, so I wanted to try that. First, we gotta make a big tail, big serger tail. After we have the long cord here, we're gonna grab our drawstring or whatever it is that you're trying to make, and we're gonna place that cord, that string of serger tail right in there and fold it over, making sure that you're not gonna actually catch the serger tail. All right, so now when we've gone a little bit, we can go ahead and kind of pull that serger tail so it's gonna start turning our little strap already. Now, if it's a short strap, you don't have to start turning it yet, but since this is a drawstring and it's gonna be very long, I wanna go ahead and start turning it, because if not, it's gonna be really hard for me at the end to turn it all the way around. So we're gonna keep going, and then I'm gonna stop every once in a while and turn. Now we just pull from this end, make sure that it's feeding it through, slowly come all the way through. I tried that trick, and you just have to pull really lightly. I was pulling really harsh, and also this is a very long piece of drawstring, so it just broke on me. It broke. But if you're doing a short drawstring or like a spaghetti strap or something like that, it will work. Oh well. At least it helped me to turn it, which is the hardest part at the beginning, turning that whole thing. All right, here we go. There we go. Now we've got our hoodie is done. We're gonna turn it around. Ooh, it's so cute. Cut all these threads off, basting stitches off, pull them all out. And now all we've got left to do is pull the basting stitches out. And oh my gosh, look at the cuff. So good. So good. We're gonna insert our drawstring through with a safety pin. Make sure the safety pin is going to fit through your grommets before you even grab one, because I've done that before. Grab the safety pin, attach the drawstring to it, and then it wouldn't fit. Oh, look at that. I missed a whole piece. I got to go back and sew that over. Oh, goodness. You know, I got a message the other day. I made a mistake, and I was talking about it on my Instagram. And somebody was like, I didn't think you ever made mistakes. And I'm like, I made mistakes quite often. And I mess up. I'm not perfect. Just like this hole right here. Big mistake. Well, it's not a big mistake. It's easy. I'll just fold it over and top stitch it. I mean, not top stitch it. Sew it back on. And you'll be fine. But I just wanted to show you that because everyone makes mistakes. I sew so much. I've been sewing for, what? 7 years now, 6 years now. And I sew almost daily. Like since I started sewing, I sew pretty much every day. And I still mess up. I still do little things like that I'm like, what? That wasn't even, what? But that's okay, because we fix it, we learn from it, and we move on. Apparently I don't learn from it, but somebody may learn from it. but we're done. I'm going to tie these off here at the end, a little couple knots so it doesn't fall off, and then I'll trim the bottom and we'll be done. So I'm gonna go fix that. I'm gonna trim these bottoms and I'm gonna go put it on and show you what it looks like. I'm so excited. So cute. All right, we are done. This turned out so good. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Please comment, like, share, subscribe if you haven't. Please subscribe if you haven't. We're almost to 10K and I'm so excited. I am so thankful to all of you who have subscribed, who love my videos, who are always so encouraging. Thank you so much. Anyway, that's all I've got for you today. I'll see you all next time.